Hi, this is Christelle Martinet, and this is another scrying session for the day 15th of May. So it's the middle of May, and I started this session without really knowing where I wanted to go with it. But I trust that you'll help me in finding out where I want to go. So it's the end of a weekend, and I've had a very social weekend, and but there's still I'm compelled to come back and look at what we're doing here, and I see traffic. There's a lot of traffic. Um, you know, uh, you would like to be in a place alone, but there's just so much more traffic. There's more stimuli. There are more people around, more than you care to know, and more than you care to see. It is not a moment. Today's the 15th, the 16th, 17th. These next couple of days, where you can tenderly go and be on your own and meditate. It seems as if you are bombarded to a certain extent, and you are called upon to think of this and think of that and think of the other thing, and it's not very nice. It's not very nice. If you want to be alone, you want to be alone, period. But if you are just a little bit stimulated to, listen up, go out, come back and listen up again and see what maybe, because there's that little bit of insecurity, well, you'll be doing that. And today, the 15th in Rome, it is very late. I guess it's past 11 p.m. So in the Australia, New Zealand area, it will be into the 16th. But what I'm feeling is that there's an area of certainty, non-certainty. You're certain, but you're not certain, as if you were there, but you're not there, I think yes, but, as if you were still waiting to have a more sincere, a more real, a more distinct definition of where you should be, what you should be doing, where you should be calling, who you should speaking to. And what I'm getting is that this moment, this late night, evening in Rome, the early morning in Okay, I'm coming back to you because every now and then my laptop shuts off. So, coming back, I was talking about the difficulty in understanding what other timelines are like. You can imagine that you are in a certain, third dimensional place, and however, you're reasoning, you're believing, you're visualizing in a timeline that is completely different because you need this. And it is interesting because when you're in that timeline, the other person that you're interested in is in a completely other timeline. And it's almost as if you avoid each other constantly. And, I wonder if these two, hero and heroine, will ever come together and dance on the same dance floor, or will they ever meet up and say, yes, you're right, I've tried to avoid you, let's get together. You're right, I just am not ready, but it's not really necessary, and it's not even important, it's not even. What I find quite interesting in this is that people feel that the other person is obliging them when it's really not the case. They are not obliging. They, in turn, feel obliged. So you're both on the same footing. And it's almost as if you want in some way to make your mark in that timeline, but then you're afraid because you don't think that others will appreciate you making your mark, and then you just get, people just go by, they just drift by, they change, they go any other way, and it's God. Thank God that happens, because it's so refreshing for one of the parties who has to wait and has to think that maybe that person is not ready. Maybe that other person is just not in the same timeline as I am. And thank God there are so many different levels and levels of meaning, levels of existence, in order for us to interact in a certain way. I was at a tango evening, and it was just a joy. It was just a joy, because when you get on the dance floor for 3 songs, which would be a tanda, so it would be like 3 minutes times 3 would be 9 minutes. If it's 4, it could be 12 minutes. And for that moment, for those 10 minutes, 12 minutes, the woman would have to convince herself that she trusts the other person, and that would make the beauty of their dance, because the woman is trusting, and the man feels strong enough that he can lead the woman, and it's just so lovely. And when it ends, you just feel, I feel like I say to myself, I could die now. I could die, because I feel perfect. I feel perfect. I just had a perfect experience, But then life goes on, and then you wonder, well, then there must be something else I have to do. There must be something else I have to do. And what I'm seeing is that today, the 15th and the 16th and part of the 17th is a period that you feel like you're on a windmill, turning and turning and turning. And your true beliefs are not really brought to the fore, because you're afraid of having other people see them, And it's almost as if you cannot show your true colors because of fear. Of fear because perhaps that person would not understand that. Perhaps I will not be in the position of showing that, And it's quite, it's been 1, 2, 3 scrying sessions that I've seen this dance. This going forward, turning back, going forward, moving, sliding, switching, and there are moments, I have to say, when even just a dance, a milonga, the first of 3 or of 4, occur, where you feel so in communion with the person that you're dancing with that you are so surprised. And it's such a lovely feeling to be together, that, you literally would love them forever, But life is not that. Life brings you back to your own environment and brings you back to your heavy sense of ancestors and heavy sense of living in traditions and weighing down all of those decisions that you've made up until then. But still there's the promise that one day, just one day, that person will no longer wait and no longer want and no longer have an excuse to stop communicating. And it's quite interesting, this, because I equate the non-communication with males and the communication with females, when really it's not that way. Males communicate excessively, I mean, there are friends of mine who have told me in so many languages, please stop. I would like to see you. Please don't move. Let's just see each other just for an hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours, you know. And the sin that the female commits often is not realizing that it is a moment that you'll never, you know, gather again. It's a moment that you will lose, and it's a moment that has nothing to do with those other heavy dealings of who is looking for whom, and you know, all of those power plays that some zodiac signs just love to do, you know, love to carry out. And what's interesting is for me to see this evening is that there are corridors. There are corridors. There are wide open corridors where people pass and people go and people see and they discuss. And it's not the same old song, and it's not the same old soup, as they say in Italy. It is a different tune, and it's a different intonation, a different tonality, where you're hearing actually a different song, and it's so lovely. And there is life after that person, you know. Today I had a reading with a woman, and she's been waiting for a husband for many, many years. And I truly respect her, and I completely agree with her. If you're in love and you feel deep down in your heart that that person will be coming back, then you should wait, okay? It's been years. It's been years. And even in my cards, I've seen that that person really does want to come back, but they have gone down a road almost of no return, where their choices are anything but positive, and where just to make a buck, they have compromised their ethics, you know, their way of thinking. And what I found is that this compromise has brought a person, a man in this case, has brought them to completely disorient them, you know, that completely remove them from their normal, from their familiar environment, context, and the reaction, let's say, the outcome was of complete being extraneous, being external to anything that would happen to him, his family, his wife, and everything. And it's interesting to see, in some respects, that that we go through very many different ranges of decisions. You know, there are very many different scales, from 1 to 10, from 1 to 20, from 1 to 100. And every scale hides some kind of no turning back, okay? And it's interesting how our own mind tricks us into believing that we are good at times and we are bad, and I'm couching that in inverted commas, the good and the bad. You know, we seem, I have yet to meet a human being that does not reason in terms of good and bad, white and black, positive, negative. I still have to meet a soul that has reasons outside of that paradigm, polarity. And in this case, what they do is distinguish themselves, and I'm couching myself in this group. We distinguish ourselves, good and bad, in terms of something else. Positive, negative, in terms of something else. How close I am to something, in terms of how something else is far away. And it's frightening to me. I do it myself, but it's frightening because all I see is black and white, and I don't like to see black and white. And I trust that the universe will illuminate us and show us all the shades of gray that make it possible for us to see different types of movement, development, growth, learning. And I, for one, still feel like I'm in an area where I still need to learn volumes, but I come across people, animals, plants, institutions. I come across these entities, I'm going to call them entities, that completely surprise me in terms of their rigidity, their rigidity in terms of not changing with respect to their past, and in terms of their completely, their I guess you would say their frozen nature, in respect to what is thought, even thought patterns. And I'm listening to myself and I'm trying to understand what I'm saying, but I think that tonight I'm having difficulty with the schema, these certain schemes and rigid tables and paradigms that don't allow us to go beyond the normal scheme of things and see something completely different. I mean, why can't something be green? Why can't something be bright green? Why does it have to be different shades of gray? Why can't we speak? Does fear really paralyze you to a degree that you won't speak your truth? I mean, why not? And, it goes back for many of us, of course, to what we grew up with and what we were accustomed to and what we were extended to. There are many of us who have been molested or raped or seviziati, you have been some form of sexual abuse in the childhood. And this seems to be one of the most difficult themes to overcome in a person's adulthood. And I don't understand why. This is I've seen thousands. I said thousands. I don't want to say thousands. Hundreds. Okay, I've seen hundreds of cases, and I don't understand why. Why can't you just turn the channel? Why can't you just turn that channel? What is it? You like being there? You like wallowing in that area of disconcerted certainty? It's quite difficult for me. And this evening, I've had a wonderful evening. I had a great tango evening. But coming back to the candles and to the crystals and the scrying, brings me to a place where people are still looking within. And it's that looking within that doesn't allow them to look without and doesn't allow them to acknowledge those around them. And it's a sin for me. I think it's a sin because it really conditions the way the successive period evolves. And so be it. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste. I hope this made sense to some of you. This is scrying for the 16th and 17th. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye. This is Christelle. Thank you so much for your likes, shares, and your subscriptions. Bye-bye.